Gayle Currie's resume in education and athletics is chock full of awards, accomplishments, and accolades. It's her resume that is also full of a great deal of activity. She set out from Raleigh in 1970 bound for UNC Greensboro, her sights set on a degree in physical education. What she did not expect was that her enthusiasm for athletics within the setting of education would lead her to an opportunity unlike any other. Almost immediately after graduation in 1974, she was hired at Guilford College as the head volleyball coach. With Title IX in its infancy, Gayle built a standard of excellence for volleyball, so much so that she was asked to do the same for the Quaker women's tennis program. And while simultaneously heading up these two sports, she took on the duties of head women's basketball coach. So for 6 years, she led 3 programs at the same time. As a head coach for over 19 seasons, Gayle trained collegiate student athletes to reach their potential both in the classroom and on the court. She produced 21 All-Americans, won National and Conference Coach of the Year honors, and set records way too many to name. She went on to become the athletic director at Guilford College and a member of the NAIA Hall of Fame. She's a native of Raleigh, but she's a long-standing contributor to sports in Guilford County. A resume for which we are all so very proud. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Gayle Currie to the Guilford County Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2013.
Good evening. I would first like to congratulate the fellow inductees. I feel like I'm in very wonderful company and I'm very humbled by that. I'd like to introduce and thank my family for being here. They drove up from Goldsboro and Raleigh and they'll be traveling back there tonight, so it's a long day for them. If you guys will just raise your hand. My dad, his partner Mary, my sister-in-law Ann, my brother Johnny, and my Aunt Betty. I'd like to ask everyone who played at Guilford College or who had association through sports medicine to please stand and let me thank you. And Heather got the award for coming the farthest. She came from Saipan. And you'll have to check your globe. That is very near Guam. So we appreciate her being here for that. I'd like to thank Dave Walters, who went through all the archives to try to pull out the information that DEMP needed for this occasion. I'd like to thank Dr. Bill Rogers, who was president of Guilford during the time I was there as a coach. I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame Committee and DEMP and Chelsea. I knew in the 9th grade that I wanted to be a physical education teacher. And probably part of that, I will have to give credit to Carolyn Wrights, who was our PE teacher. And we used to go into the gym and turn down the lights, and she had a disco ball, and we would roller skate to Dionne Warwick. Some of you don't know who she was, but I just thought it was the grandest thing, and I thought, well, this is it for me. This is what I'm going to do. So I took off for UNCG. We did not have varsity teams in Raleigh at Sanderson's High School when I was there in the 1970s. But when I got to UNCG, they had varsity athletics. So I quickly went out for the volleyball team and had a wonderful mentor at that time who was Pat Hilscher. Pat, will you raise your hand and wave? Raise your hand. Who was a wonderful coach and the first person I had really watched how they coached as far as a role model. I did play basketball also, not my strongest sport. And when I went in as a freshman, I think we were many points ahead. I finally got to get into the game, and there was a loose ball on the floor, and I grabbed it, and I took off, and I took off down the floor, scored the basket. It was the wrong basket. So I didn't see too many basketball games after that. I'd like to thank Mary Jo Lentz, who's one of my mentors that is here tonight. Mary Jo, raise your hand. I did my student teaching with Mary Jo, and then I later worked for 11 years as a PE teacher at Jones Elementary School. Phil Roach was a wonderful athletic director during my time at Guilford, but my story really started with Betsy Umstead at UNCG once I had graduated, calling me up and telling me that a man named Herb Appenzeller wanted me to come out to Guilford College and interview for the volleyball job, tennis, volleyball, basketball, I'm not sure which one it was. And I did, and I loved him, and he was a great mentor, a wonderful athletic director, and probably my best cheerleader. And that has been a relationship that's gone on since 1974. So Herb, if you'll wave, let them know who you are, as if everybody didn't know. So thank you very much.